Hello, brilliant entrepreneur. It's Tash Corbin here with another quick tip from Tash. And this is one of the most common questions I get asked from people who are in Facebook groups and using them for their marketing and business growth. And that is, how do I ask great questions of my target market in Facebook groups? Now, in the Heart Center group, which is my community at tashcorbin.com/group. Now, if you jump into that group, you'll see on Tuesdays, we have hashtag what I need on Tuesdays. Now, this is a day for sharing your goals and also asking questions and doing some market research from your potential ideal clients. And people really struggle with this day and really struggle to ask great questions. And it's one of the most powerful days within the community. So I wanted to do this quick tip to help you make the most of your opportunities when you get to ask questions of your ideal clients. So tip number one is to be hyper specific about who you're asking the question of. So if you specifically work with healers, then make sure when you're asking questions into giant groups like the Heart Center group that you start your question with, "Attention all healers, I need your help," or something along those lines, so that you're actually calling out the exact ideal clients that you need. Now, if the exact ideal client that you need is every single member of the Heart Center group, then chances are you haven't niched enough. So make sure you go and check out my blog and grab some insights on how you can get more specific with your niche and why it's so important to do that. But if you work with mums, or if you specifically work with people who are coaches, or if you specifically work with people who are in startup, or you work with people who are pet owners or people who live in a specific area, make sure when you're asking your questions that you make that really clear from the start, because it is better for you to get 50 comments or 50 answers from really engaged right clients than get 5,000 answers from people who aren't your ideal client and aren't the people that you were looking for information from. So make sure, number one, that you get really specific with who you're asking the question of. Number two, ask open-ended questions. Do not feed words into the mouths of your ideal client. Ask questions that actually get some insight for you on what it is that they're looking for. Now, bonus tip, don't say, "If I was to run a webinar on sales and marketing, what would you want to learn from me?" Because all you're doing is showing me that you're running a webinar on sales and marketing. And to be honest with you, if you don't know the answer to that question, then I don't want to learn sales and marketing from you. So make sure that when you're asking the question, instead of asking it in that way, which is the way that I see so many people do, and to be honest with you, it's not that great for your business, ask open-ended questions in a way that really dig into what you need to understand from your ideal client. So let's say you work in graphic design and you want to know from your audience what helps them to make a decision about what graphic designer that they're going to be working with. So that is a really beautiful question, right? It's an open-ended question and it asks them what you're looking for. But you can get even more specific. Why do you want to know the answer to that question? Usually it's because you want to know what to include on your about page, or you're about to go and launch something and you don't know what areas to focus on. If you're looking for something really specific and practical, ask something really specific and practical. So for example, if you want to know how important it is that you have qualifications in graphic design, then you can ask that question and say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it to you that your graphic designer has tertiary qualifications in graphic design, and why? So people can give you their number answer and they can tell you why it's important or not important to them. That's much more practical than just, if you were to hire a graphic designer, what would you be looking for? And again, if you're not specific on who your audience is, then it gets even more blown out and it's much bigger, and you're just getting the most random questions, the most random responses to your question. And then tip number 3 is kind of related to that, and that is only ask questions where you're actually interested in the answer. So often I see people doing posts on their Facebook page or in Facebook groups that says, "Are you a tea drinker or a coffee drinker?" Now, unless you're selling tea and coffee, you should not be asking that question. You have very limited opportunities to get into people's news feeds. You really treat that with the value and respect that it deserves, and ask questions that are meaningful, where you actually give true hoots about the answers that people are giving to you. So I see people saying like, "Are you a winter person or a summer person? Are you a scruncher or a folder of your toilet paper?" It's like, I don't understand why you're asking me this question. I don't understand, and I honestly don't think you care about my answer. So it's really disengaging and disconnecting to ask those questions. So make sure that you're making the most of the opportunity and ask questions that you actually want to know the answer to, and that you will make a decision based on the answer to it. So for example, if you are really struggling to work out how your ideal client articulates something, or what it is that they're looking for in this space, or even better, what they think the problem is, then ask questions at that level. So maybe you're a weight loss coach and you want to know whether people actually are looking for weight loss coaches or what they're looking for. So you could say something like, ladies who are looking to lose weight, if you were to go and Google for help today, what would you Google? Right? So you're asking a very practical question. Again, it's quite high level. That's a high level question, but it's something where it's an experience and it's a piece of advice that people can give you, and that might help you with your SEO, that might help with your keywords, might help you understand exactly what people think that they need or what they're looking for online. So they're my 3 quick tips for you on how to ask great questions in Facebook communities. And here's an extra little bonus piece of advice. You know when you've asked a great question because you get lots of responses and it really lights you up. So pay attention to when you ask great questions compared to when you ask terrible questions. Now, it's not just based on how many answers you get. I've asked questions before where I've got 250 answers and I realize it's a terrible question because I haven't actually got anything meaningful out of this, or I know that I'm not going to make any decisions or change my way of doing things in my business as a result. And to be honest with you, it's just confused me about what people want from me. So, it's not just based on numbers alone and how many answers that you get that give you an indication of whether you've asked a great question or not. Be really discerning about how you make the most of the opportunities that you have to get into people's inboxes, into their news feeds, and into the group feeds in the groups in which they are most active. Until next time, I cannot wait to see you shine. Thanks for joining me for another quick tip with Tash, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.